This is Binghamton Now on News Radio 1290 WNBF Binghamton and WNBF.com.
I'm Bob Joseph. Welcome to Mr. Joseph's Neighborhood. A neighborhood filled with fun and frolic and intrigue. Call in at 607-772-1290. And we're starting off a brand new week. It's going to be interesting and exciting. Additional November surprises to come between now and Thanksgiving Day. You'll be pleased to know at least 3 major November surprises have been scheduled. Additional surprises may be put into the mix as appropriate. So if you enjoy surprises, there were a couple of October surprises, but nothing substantive. November is now the month for the biggest and best surprises. Stay tuned to WNBF for complete coverage and instructions of where to go if it's really a big surprise. Let's hit the phones now and get things rolling for another big week here at the station. Good morning. You're caller number 1. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning there, sir. Dave from Vestal. Good weekend, Bob?
Oh, fantastic. Simply fantastic. Continued my Upstate America Goodwill Tour.
You did?
Yes,
yeah?
I did. I met one of upstate New York's smartest dogs. You know I love the dogs. And the dogs love me because dogs know. Dogs know. If you're a dog person, dogs definitely know. And if you don't like dogs, dogs know that. I met a dog named Renzi. In fact, he will turn 5 years old on December 1st, and he is the smartest dog in East Syracuse, New York.
Well, you're right, though, Bob. They are very smart. They know they can detect. If you're afraid of them, they know. They can tell.
They have ESPN, and they don't have to pay for it.
Yep. Hey. What I wanted to bring up, Bob, I don't know if you watch, I know you don't like boxing, UFC, you don't like any of that fighting stuff, but I don't know if you caught any of it on the news, any clips of Madison Square Garden Saturday night, John Jones. First of all, Trump came.
Well, I heard about that. First of all, and I did see a picture, but what confused me at first, I had to do a double take because they had a photo of John Bones Jones, and he was not driving a Bentley. So that's, I had to, look at it 2 or 3 times, and then I realized, this is not a picture from Grand Boulevard. This is something more recent.
No, right. And, after he won his bout, vicious kick in the ribs to this guy, Bob, and he climbed out of the octagon and handed Trump his championship belt. It was pretty darn good. And you know what, Bobby? You know what? It got me thinking. I never hear, famous athletes that graduated from UE, and there was quite a few, including his brothers. They both played in the NFL. Why don't they ever reference the birthplace? When they say Endicott, New York, why don't they say the birthplace of IBM? Because everybody knows IBM. They never say that. We had Ron Luciano, the Major League umpire, Johnny Logan, played in the World Series, Milwaukee Braves. We got a Little League field named after him. Isaiah Kaczynski, another NFLer, Jimmy Johnson, pitched for the Orioles. Had a lot of UE pro athletes, but I've never once heard them reference, because they'll say from Endicott, New York. And I listen to announcers when I watch games over the years. Nobody ever references birthplace of IBM. And they should, because everybody knows IBM.
I guess they would if any of their parents worked for IBM. I'm guessing everybody you mentioned, their parents were not IBM employees. My dad was, and my stepfather was. So, I talk about IBM a lot, but maybe some people who were not fortunate enough to be part of an IBM family, maybe they actually feel a tinge of resentment, because back when IBM was firing on all cylinders, to be honest, the way things were set up here in the Triple Cities, I actually think IBM families typically got a better deal compared to those who were not part of Big Blue.
You're right, they did. Oh, let's not forget Nick Biondi in, I think it was 1975, the second BC Open, Richie Carl. And he grew up right by the golf course.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. I remember listening on a Sunday night after, wow, it's hard to believe that was 50 years ago, more than 50 years ago now, Richie Carl with that big win. And I heard, and as a young news and radio buff at that point, I was pretty impressed to hear on Sunday night the sports on WCBS 880, where they mentioned the winner of the BC Open in Endicott, New York, was Endicott native Richie Carl. So, yeah, that's something also to be proud of.
That was huge. I remember that as well, Bobby. But he knew that course like the back of his hand.
Well,
but
sure.
Still, he had to go out and do it.
Didn't he live across the street from it?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So there. Well, as right you there. Should. Yeah, he probably knew it better than a lot of the employees, I'll bet, because of his years of experience and just the fact that who knows how many times he had played the course as even as a teenager.
Yep. Oh, Bob, and I forgot to mention you. We famous UE grads with Bob Joseph. We got to get him in there too.
Yeah, infamous.
Okay.
That's the one thing that the Union Endicott School District is really careful about. They never ever publicly associate their school district with me. They'll associate themselves with John Bones Jones and any one of the other people that you mentioned. But have you noticed publicly, they've always kept their distance? I find that interesting.
Yeah. I'm
not disappointed, just interesting. Thank you. A good way to start off the week for America. 917, good morning. You're on the air. You're caller number 2. Congratulations. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Mike from Binghamton.
Hey, Mike. What's up?
I was just wondering, I'm sure Matt's listening, and I'd like to know what he thinks of Bones Jones doing the Trump dance. That's number one. I'd love to hear his explanation to that. And also, you guys really ripped the nomination of Pete Hegseth. And I'd like to point out that there was another gentleman named that was appointed by a president, John F. Kennedy, McNamara. He had no experience. He was a veteran, and he was also 44. And I think he did a hell of a job back then with the Cuban Missile Crisis and stuff. That's all I got to say.
Appreciate your observations and the historical note. Yeah, we're big fans of Mr. Hegseth around here. Although his departure from the Fox weekend breakfast lineup leaves a big opening. Hopefully, what I'm hoping for is maybe Jim Emke will get hired to fill the weekend opening now available for Fox and Friends now that Mr. Hegseth has to leave early. Which would be good because Jim could still do what he does here so well in Binghamton with News 34 and continuing to lead the way in journalistic excellence. And then he could work on weekends down at Fox News. Maybe they could set up a, what do they call them? One of those remote hookups. So like the same kind of studio that they set up for Tucker Carlson, because Tucker Carlson didn't like having to work in New York. Maybe Rupert will set up a studio like that so Jim can still work in Binghamton, so he could do it from, I don't know. Actually, I know where I would set it up. But I'm not going to mention it for security reasons, but it's a perfect place for the all new weekend Fox and Friends. And Jim is shaking his head right now saying, Bob, please, don't even joke about stuff like that. Good morning, you're caller number 3. Congratulations. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
This is John, like the toilet from Binghamton.
Yeah, well, they're running special deals now for you order 3 between now and the end of the year, and you get a 4th one free. Restrictions apply.
Hey, Bob, How about this congressman? He's going, according to Axios, he's going up north to get into Stefanik's district. How about that one?
Yeah, well, I heard that was going to happen right after the first bulletin surfaced that she was going to be part of the Trump train. Instantly, well, not instantly, virtually instantly, I thought, oh, I know who's going to seek that seat.
Maybe he should go to Watertown or something and get a job in a pizza parlor for 2 years.
Oh, come on, Johnny. Come on. Maybe the platform could be, making pizza great again. I don't know. I think it would be great, though. And you know me, I don't endorse candidates. I just think because he has been in this studio countless times. He's been in this studio more times than Josh Riley. I mean, fortunately, Josh Riley has now been in the studio a few times. And by the way, when I saw him at the Veterans Day parade, has it been a week? Yes, a week ago, the congressman-elect said, I will be coming back on the show soon, so hopefully we can get that scheduled. But yeah, as far as Mark Molinaro, I think this is quite exciting.
Yeah, Bob, on this Jared Cram guy, his war against private property, now apparently if you have a building, it doesn't belong to you. You've got to get permission from Cram to sell it. This guy's ridiculous. He's talking about displacing a business. What about all the businesses he's displacing in the Binghamton Plaza? Why can't the Bingham? He's never given a satisfactory answer on why the Binghamton Plaza can't be repaired like the one in the town of Shenango. Let me tell you another thing. I've analyzed the city of Binghamton vote totals. The strong, ignominious defeat, which is what the last year has been about. Jared Cram better do what his father did. He took a powder for a long while from politics and successfully ran for county executive. I would strongly urge the Republicans either to get a candidate that can articulate where Cram has gone wrong in trying. And unsuccessful Republicans have one thing in common: they all try to appease the Democrats and get Democrat votes. It's failed with Rich David several times. It's failed with Mark Molinaro. Cram is going down to what looks like to me a 60-40 defeat. The local Republican Party has no grassroots whatsoever. They have people with the land bank and people that serve as county legislator, aides, and things like that. They have maybe 15 people. They don't have an organization in the city of Binghamton. This guy here, whatever his name is, Benji Fetterman, has ruined the party. He has no credibility. Molinaro.
Well, how has he ruined it? He hasn't been the chairman that long. Maybe there haven't been major improvements, but he hasn't been there that long to personally. This is my observation. I haven't thought about it that much, but how long has he actually been chair of the county Republican Party?
Oh, a couple of elections.
About 2 years. Well, okay. All right. Well, time flies when I'm having fun. So it doesn't seem like he's been the chair that long. As far as who to run for any given race. I mean, we saw what happened with the county executives race for some reason, and I'm still perplexed. John, and I'm not saying that I'm disappointed. I'm just not making any judgment about how Jason Garner has won another term. I'm just perplexed why the county Republican Party did not run any candidate, even if you will, somebody called a sacrificial lamb, even if they knew that Jason Garner, because of his immense popularity, was going to easily win another term, I still would have expected somebody in Broome County. I mean, I can think of 3 or 4 people who probably could have put up a decent showing. I'm not saying, in fact, the truth is, I don't think any Republican in Broome County could have toppled Jason Garner, but it could have made for a very interesting campaign, as well as interesting debates, including one on this program, Sue.
Well, you could have toppled him easily through advertising. These are the
using a bunch of negative ads, yes, but negative ads are only meant for presidential and congressional races. You don't use negative ads for things like the Broome County executives race, although I do seem to recall in the past some negative ads have been used for the Binghamton mayor's race. I wonder... I won't finish that thought right now.
Here's what the Broome County GOP is. It is a party of four elected office holders who run in the off year. Akshar, Battisti, Mahalko, and Cram. It's an off-year party. It has failed miserably to make any inroads in the 2 most powerful state positions since Akshar left office. What the reason they won't let people run for office, the Broome GOP, they don't want to have some sort of fluke occur where a guy or a gal that's not beholden to them wins. So they don't. They've made this deal where they don't challenge the Democrats within the city for county legislature seats, even though some Republicans have gotten as much as 40% of the vote in the city. They don't do that. Therefore, they don't know where they stand support-wise. But I will tell you this, that Jared Cram has no base of support. If he thinks he can run a campaign like the last Bucci and David campaigns, these ideas are 30 and 40 years old, that it's all about the police department and public safety, when he's got a potential case of tens of millions of dollars against the police department in a debacle of an investigation, he's dreaming. So my advice to the baby boy mayor is to step aside, let a full-blown MAGA candidate gobble up all those blank voters in the city, as well as the Republicans. Get the property that he's taken more property, continues to take property off the tax rolls, Bob. And you know, it's interesting. If you look at the headquarters of Vines and of the Family Children's Association and soon the YWCA, Helios Health, all these nonprofits are building a great office space for themselves, while the private sector, people are working in hole in the walls, trying to pay their taxes to this bloated city government. And I'll tell you what, government efficiency is going to come down with the hammers of hell, because the voters are not going to stand, even in Ithaca. Look, they've had it up there with these bloated budgets. So Cram better retire now.
But here's the question. The biggest question is, if for some reason he decides not to seek re-election, then who will Binghamton Republicans run with? You?
Bob, I would be happy if...
Are you using this program to make a preliminary announcement that you would be a candidate if Jared Cram decides not to run again?
Well, there's issues that need to be brought up, Bob. And, he's going to bulldoze the Paducah Oldsmobile site for a campaign contribution, for a campaign photo op. This Boscov's deal is not signed yet, even though it was announced about a year ago. We've got to get this guy roped in. He never should have been there. He's had 12 years to do the job, Bob. He's been deputy mayor for 8 and 4 on his own. Certainly, as deputy mayor, he could have implemented and executed things. What's happened to Binghamton in the 70s is going to happen again. The center of gravity is going back to the Oakdale Commons, Oakdale Mall. It's going to go to Bun Hill Road. The city is going to be import hundreds of unwed mothers with families with the YWCA project, a bunch of junkies, if I might use that.
What
old
about
term.
the YMCA project? They're about to shut down their swimming pool so they can open that place up to more residents. So downtown, you look ahead, John, based on the current plans with the YWCA's project, the YMCA's project, although that's cloaked in mystery because the guy in charge is apparently never to be interviewed and will never come on this program or do any kind of interviews with anybody from the media. But looking ahead with those projects and a few other projects, Binghamton, at least much of downtown Binghamton, could have hundreds more residents within the next few years.
More residents in not 10 cents for property taxes or school taxes. Not 10 cents, Bob. That tax burden has to be distributed to the homeowners, to the business owners. And the imbalance of the city of Binghamton, I've talked about it for 20 years, goes on. It's gotten more and more acute. And, this is a failure. But I'm going to tell you something. Street people, even if they're housed, like, okay, you've got homeless guy, right? You're going to solve his problem. He's going to get a subsidized housing unit. Great. That's great. I'm not putting that down. Great deal for him. Should have a lot of gratitude. What's he going to do after in the morning at 9 a.m.? Is he going to get a job? There are no jobs. These chain drug stores have closed. These fast food places have closed. Little bitty manufacturing operations in the city. The Cram has created absolutely no jobs. He's continued to lose the jobs. He's continued to make a mess out of the city. Doodads here, Art Deco districts there. It's going to be a sophisticated Champs-Élysées type situation. He is dreaming.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. And personally, I'm expecting that the mayor is definitely going to run for another term. I see no reason. I mean, I understand. I listen intently to what John said, but personally, I would expect that he will choose to run. Well, the signs indicate that his plans will be for a second term, which for people not familiar with the city of Binghamton, that's all you can do as mayor or city council. Because of term limits, you can only serve as a member of city council or as mayor for 2 4-year terms. It's 9:33. Bob Joseph live and local, starting off another great week. Be prepared for November surprises. They could break out at any time. And when they do, we'll talk about it on WNBF. WNBF Binghamton Now with a talk party every weekday morning from 9 to noon. DJ in Binghamton, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Bob. Shout out to Dave from Vestal. I saw it, but with Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and all them sitting there, I didn't see the part. And what's funny is the Action News or Fox 40, none of them showed that, where John Bones Jones, first he did the Trump dance with his fist going forward. He's such a cool dude. And then he jumped over the thing and handed him his belt. And when he was talking, I don't know what it said. I haven't searched really extensively to what he said to him, but I believe he said, I'm glad I respected you. And you know something? John Bones Jones has tattooed on his chest, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So if he knows that, I know he knows the scripture about respect those who are in authority, even if you don't agree with them. And I think that's what he said to him. I'm glad I respected you. And he handed him his belt. And that was just great, man. Why is it the news? Hey, if Jim Emke, you're listening, you guys, show that clip. Get a good clip off YouTube. I don't watch that anymore. And I know you don't, Bob. But when Dave from Vestal called, is that the first you found out about it? Knew about him handing him the ball?
No, I thought I saw something somewhere online. Trust me, when it comes to John Bones Jones, first of all, my interest in him is only so insofar as he also went to Union Endicott High School. I seldom, if ever, have heard him even make reference to Endicott. You know, you look up on. Actually, let's look up online because I think it says online. I think it gives his hometown as Rochester. So let's look this up.
They were teenagers.
Well, I don't care. I mean, okay, so yeah, I know you're just saying.
I'm not trying to come against you. I'm not.
No, I'm just saying. Let's look up Jonathan Dwight Jones. A fine.
Okay, while you're looking that up. Can I
I have it in front of me. I have no
Say it.
time to waste here. Jonathan Dwight Jones, a fine American. He's 37. He was born in Rochester. His residence is Albuquerque. Let's see. I'm looking down the info box. Oh, notable school. Way down in the info box on Wikipedia, down toward the bottom. Notable school, Union Endicott High School. So there it is near the bottom. So at least it's referenced. When is the last time, seriously, when is the last time anybody has publicly heard the amazing Jonathan Dwight Jones ever mention Endicott or UE High School?
Well, when I watched the Super Bowl with him and Arthur and Chandler at their church in the early 2000s, I think it was 15. You know, I think the people try to mention a place that everybody knows. So you say Rochester, New York. You say Endicott. I don't know.
Well, no. If you don't say Endicott, nobody will ever know about Endicott. I think that was one of the points Dave from Vestal made earlier this hour, was how come you never hear anybody, the Jones brothers. Part of this is I don't follow them. I mean, John Bones Jones and the other Jones boys. I am glad for their tremendous success in sports. I support that and I encourage that. I know. They have worked extremely hard to get where they are. So I am in that sense, I'm proud of them, even if they seldom seem to mention Union Endicott High School. And certainly I get it. You know, that's out of all the things to talk about, that's probably about 120 on the list of important things on their mind. But anyway, no, it's just great.
They still come here, Bob. Did you know they still come here?
I know they do. And that's another thing. And maybe since they still come here, since the Jones brothers, who are very popular, anytime that they are in Broome County or the Endicott area or Binghamton, they're all welcome on the program. My guess is they don't come on the program because I don't talk a lot about them because they know I don't pay attention. Like I said, I pay extremely minimal attention to John Jones, and even usually less attention to his brothers. I just don't pay that much attention to their business. I mean, they're in the I'm in the journalism business. They're in the business of making money. So there's the big difference.
But
I'm in journalism, so I'm not in the business of making money. All of the successful Jones brothers who went to UE, they're in the business of making huge stacks of money. So there is the huge difference.
Have you tried to contact people to get them on the phone?
No, they don't want to.
Around Super Bowl time?
No, they don't.
Ever.
DJ, look, I know someone who knows.
With Tom Brady.
Look, I know someone who knows John Bones Jones well, and if I asked that person to see if John Bones Jones would come on the program, he certainly would get the message to him. But John Bones Jones doesn't want to be in here with me, even though we both went to Union Endicott High School. I mean, come on, man. Like I say, the big difference between these guys and me is I went into the business of journalism. They went into the business of making lots of money by entertaining people and being very talented athletes. So, I wasn't. I played in the high school band. Thank you for your call. It's 9:42 at WNBF. Matt from Binghamton. Good morning.
Yes, I heard my name invoked about defending John Bones' bow to the current president-elect Donald Trump. I'm sure you will love to hear that. See what I did there?
I did,
anyway,
and I appreciate your showing him respect because he deserves the respect as president-elect.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. But anyway, talking about John Bones Jones. Look, John Bones Jones admitted, I love John, and I never watch UFC unless I did go out and watch him the other night. It's the only time I ever watch UFC because I have a connection to the family, as you know. And, John never talks about politics. He's admitted this year was the first time he ever voted at 37 years old. I would call, and I'll tell him to his face when I get to talk to him, because I do want to have a talk to him about how I think this whole system will use him because he's a champion, and if he, and he'll be gone. But John's, well, the one way, like you said, John is right. And Dana White, first of all, let's talk about Dana White just for a second. Dana White is not good to it doesn't pay nearly his championship fighters what they deserve. Compared to boxing, I mean, if Jake Paul and what's his name make $40 million and $20 million in one night, I mean, John Bones Jones, you look at his net worth for being the best fighter ever, it's not that much. And he is looking for that one big payday. And he's had his differences with Dana White, and now he realizes I'm going to have one more big fight where they give me, I forget what he called it the other night. You can't repeat it on the air, but it's a term that, a lot of money, basically. And John's not stupid. And, John also knows that Donald Trump, I'm sure he does respect him because, if you're in that position, you're not, and the guy comes to see you fight, you're not going to disrespect him. But John has made his choices. I think if he, if I sat down with him if he let me have lunch with him for a couple hours and remind him about, it's one of his heroes was Muhammad Ali. I don't think Muhammad Ali would be bowing to Donald Trump. And I don't think that John even probably reflects on the fact that Donald Trump was, the guy who wanted the death penalty for the Central Park Five, even after, and wouldn't take it back even after they were all exonerated. Things like that I don't think John has ever thought about. And so I would call him a low-information voter, especially since he didn't vote since ever until this year. And, he's involved in a game that Donald Trump has been part of for a long time through WWE and this whole crazy culture of macho men. And he knows where his bread is buttered. So.
Well, and he's extremely successful. I mean, exactly. John Bones Jones and his brothers are among the most successful people to have gone to Union Endicott High School. So I respect their work ethic, and I respect the fact that all of them have really worked hard over the decades, even from the time when they were in high school, because you don't get to the point where each of them has just by slacking off. You can't say, oh, gee, I want to be a really well-known UFC employee, or I want to be a really well-known NFL employee. Millions of young people aspire to that, but only a precious few ever get to the point where anybody outside of their hometown knows their name. So I have tremendous respect for their accomplishments. Again, just because I don't pay very close attention, I know there are a lot of people around here and across the country, and even outside the U.S., that do pay attention to what they do and to their accomplishments.
Yes, that's true. And a shout out to their father and the mother that's passed that raised three incredible.
No, I've read about their parents, and I think that's a key to their success. Really, is and not the only thing, but a major factor was parenting. Never let it be forgotten that parents, as well as teachers and others in the community, whether it was here or Rochester or wherever the young men were living, everybody who came into contact with them ultimately contributed to who they are today.
Right. And I will say one thing for John, because I know he's taken a lot of criticism, because, he was one day he was a bouncer at Bobby's, and after he came back and when Jessie got pregnant, and he quit school and came back, and I remember the story about how somebody came in and said, "Hey, you're a really great wrestler. This new sport UFC is really starting to grow, and you're lanky, you're strong. Why don't you check this out? Sheila, Jesse's mother, took him to Barnes and Nobles, and they got a book on jiu-jitsu and a couple other martial arts. And he said, "What do you think? You think I should try this?" He got a coach from Ithaca. 2 years later, he was the youngest UFC champion. So all of a sudden, he went from a bouncer at Bobby's to having a lot of money, and that happens to a lot of young people who never had much in their life, and they go crazy a little bit. And John's certainly done that, but I know for a fact right now he's in a very good place. He's matured a lot, and I wish him I wish him that big payday so he can get out of this business.
Well, I do too.
Yeah.
I wish him continued success. And yes, I make references to certain things that have been in the news, unfortunately, that, and hey, look, everybody makes mistakes and has issues. And ultimately, the one thing, and never having met or talked to him, the only thing that I can really say, I think, with accuracy is so far he's never given up.
Right, exactly.
So I could see, actually, with some of the things, for our conversation, I'll call them setbacks. For some of those setbacks that he has experienced, I could see somewhere along the line where some people would just say, forget it. I'm having my troubles. And everybody has their troubles. The thing is, with somebody who's so high profile, his troubles wind up under the harsh spotlight of the media. So, and I'm not saying that's fair. It's just the way it is.
Right. His faith has really driven that sense of coming back and doing, realizing that he has messed up. And I think, I think about it, like all the setbacks he's had. Once he was off for 3 years, and this time because of an injury. It's been 2 years since he fought. As you're getting older in this business, usually you got a lot of rust on you. But he hasn't. They thought that Cyril Gale, and the first time he won the championship, was going to give him a real hard time, and he just took him out in less than one round, and he pretty much had his way with one of the best fighters of all time the other night, even though he's older. And, I think he's got, I hope that Dana White gives him a chance to make a lot of money.
I bet he will.
I know he does.
I bet he'll get that chance. I see that happening. I see that happening sometime next year. Appreciate your call.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
950 WNBF with Bob Joseph. 607-772-1290. What's on your mind? We could talk sports. We could talk politics. We could talk about almost anything. Binghamton and beyond. This program is not locked in to 2 or 3 topics. We can multitask. Call us. 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, online at WNBF.com. It's 9:53. We go back to the busy phones. Mark in Binghamton, you're on the air.
Oh, Bob. Just wondering where these people, come off, bashing Donald Trump like Matt, who, what has he done for the public that stands out? What has he done for anybody? And to say who John Jones voted for, because by the way he puts it, he isn't that bright or smart. And it's none of his business, really, who he voted for. But how could he vote for Kamala Harris, who just showed that all the money they had, over $1 billion they spent within 3 months, and put themselves in debt? And the taxpayers are further in debt. And then we have Biden, who a month or two before he gets out of office is going to start World War III with Ukraine with the long-range missiles. And then you have Hochul, who is pushing for fluoride treatment on kids because she knows that Kennedy is going to do away with that because it isn't good for you. But these people still eat the grain that they feed them to make their minds numb, and they vote for people like them.
Well, I mean, as far as the lack of success for the Democratic candidate, really can't blame the candidate because she only had 107 days. She had the shortest general election presidential campaign in the history of the world. So,
yeah, but Bob, she had 4 years.
No, she didn't. No,
absolutely.
No, don't go there. There's no way. When you're vice president, you cannot ever say anything or do anything that goes against the president. You can't do it. It's just not done.
How about the border or enforcement?
It's just not done. She took her marching orders from Joe Biden.
And that was to go protect the border.
Yes, and that was her order. But who else knows? Only she knows, and she hasn't said specifically. Maybe she should have announced during her 107-day campaign why her hands were tied, why Joe Biden wouldn't let her be the border czar.
Well, maybe. And then she should have also, why did she hire and pay millions to all these people like Oprah and everybody on the Epstein list or the Diddy list to come out and support her for the people? I mean...
Hey, there's some high-profile Republicans, including some people who'll be on the news the next 4 years who are on the same lists.
Yeah, you won't name nearly as many because we know Epstein Island was created by...
Oh, I don't even want to go there. I'm just saying that those characters, that's all I'm going to call them for now because we're short on time, they didn't discriminate based on a political party. Come on, man. You shouldn't even bring that up. It had nothing to do, zero to do with the outcome of the election. Zero. We've got more calls coming up on this Monday morning with Bob Joseph. I call the program Binghamton Now. You're listening to WNBF. We'll be taking phone calls in a few minutes. First, though, we're joined by the owner of Chroma Cafe and Bakery right here in Mr. Joseph's neighborhood, just a few steps away from the beautiful WNBF studios. Leighton Blackwood, welcome to our station.
Thank you. Really happy to be here.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. It's been a long time coming, but I'm really happy to be part of the community and support the local economy.
And we've had conversations, very short conversations on and off over the last several months because just out of the blue one day, and I can't remember what month it was, but it was, I think, last winter. It was early this year.
It was.
I called you and said, hey, this is a paraphrase. It's not an actual transcript, but it was basically, are you planning to buy Chroma Cafe? And at that point, we'll say it was very, very early in the game.
Very early in the conversations. I don't think there was much I could say at the time. But yeah, you called us kind of pretty early in the negotiations. So, as you know, Chroma was closed for the most part of the first half of this year. So you called very early in that process. And, after that conversation, we just kept at it, kind of tried to keep him on the low. But in June, we completed the transfer, and we've been soft open since. And we had our grand opening on Friday.
And you may know, I kept your name out of those early stories. It was tempting. I was like, well,
appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking, is it necessary for the public to know that Leighton Blackwood is hoping for this to happen, or can the story basically be told? Because I'm looking at some of the stories that I did going back to, I think, last February and July, and assiduously not mentioning your name. And I thought, well, let's just let people know that there are things going on behind the scenes to suggest that Chroma Cafe and Bakery will return. But I'm always of the mind, usually, if it's something that could complicate things, especially when negotiations were underway. I didn't want to be, yeah, thanks a lot, Bob. We had nearly all the issues resolved, and all the legal paperwork and everything was almost finalized, and we had one last T to cross, and then something happened, and it was probably because of your funny little news story, and I thought that's probably not what we wanted. So anyway, so tell us a little bit about yourself. You've been now part of Binghamton for several years. You came to the Binghamton area to go to school.
Yeah, so I came to BU, actually studied at the School of Management starting in 2017, and I started working on my first business in the winter of 2018. So, shortly after starting at BU. And that took off shortly after graduation. So I graduated in 2021, middle of the pandemic. And I've kind of been here ever since. So, started Second Heaven on the BU campus, our bubble tea shop right out in the center of the student union. And been operating that for a little over 3 years now. And Chroma is my newest venture. And I guess I'll stick around for that as well.
So you grew up in Queens?
Grew up in Queens, New York, Southeast Queens. Born and raised in a Caribbean household, and spent all my life in the city until I came up here.
So tell me why you chose Binghamton.
Why did I choose Binghamton? BU is a solid school. BU is a really solid school. It's it's not too far from the city, so I wasn't too far away from home. And the quality of the school for the price was definitely what got me. So, came for the education and stayed for Binghamton.
Well, that's a good sign, because so many of us, I was born in Binghamton, and so many of us are really proud of the university and the way it's grown over the last several decades. And I think the hope is that more and more students who get a taste of Binghamton and value the education they've gotten here will find opportunities, business opportunities, perhaps start their own business, or maybe job opportunities with existing businesses so they can stay in this area. Because as you have observed, we really need an influx of younger people and new blood and people with ideas and energy to make Binghamton and the general area better in the coming years.
Absolutely. I feel like you couldn't have said it better. Like you mentioned that the university has grown a lot. I myself am only here today because of a lot of support from the university and, other organizations in the area, the Small Business Development Center, the Kauffman Incubator, the Cornell CCE. So, altogether, there's a lot of infrastructure for people like myself. And I just hope that, other people out there could take advantage of that and really contribute to the community.
Tell me about the challenges of getting to this point where finally, officially on Friday, the announcement could be made that you are the owner of Chroma Cafe and Bakery. We alluded to the fact that it wasn't necessarily simple or quick to get this done.
The challenges.
I know we don't have all day, but give us the condensed version of some of the challenges, because see, people who have never either started a business or never acquired an existing business really have no appreciation that it can be complicated, and every situation's unique. So, and obviously, if this was going to be simple, you would have been here 4 or 5 months ago. But I'll just say it seems like it must have been a long and winding road. So, first, how did you find out about the opportunity? How did Chroma come to your attention?
I believe it was the Small Business Development Center. I have a mentor out there who's been really instrumental in getting this started, and he mentioned, hey, I might have a connection for you. I know you're looking to expand. We might have this turnkey spot for you that, might be of interest. And I reached out to the former owners, and the rest is history. And, there were challenges along the way. Starting a business is, I'm only 25. There's a lot for me to learn. And I definitely cannot say that I know everything. I did not come in knowing everything, and even now I still don't know everything. But, for every challenge, for everything that I didn't know, there was always somebody to help out, whether it was, like I mentioned, the Small Business Development Center, the incubator, even the former owners who taught me how to bake bread for, the first time. All together, that support is really what kept me going when I might not have had the answers, on the spot.
Obviously, financing is critical if you're going to acquire a business. But the other thing that I know from talking with people who are either young and just starting off in the business world, or people who've been doing it for decades, takes an enormous amount of time. I mean, it's not I know of nobody who owns a small business who is working a 40-hour week.
Yeah, that was a huge part of it. Bakers tend to start early, so I'm opening with them. So that's a 5:30 a.m. morning, and then just working through the full day. Sometimes finishing at 12 and then just waking up and starting right over again. So that is definitely takes a toll on the body. But overall, I kind of knew what I wanted to get done, and I shot for it.
So are you excited now at this point? I get a sense that from just the sound of your voice and your description of what's happened over the last several months, you're really excited now with what's happened and perhaps what the potential is going forward.
Yeah, we have a really great team down there. I definitely could not say that I did this myself. We have a really talented pastry chef, a really talented baker. Even our cashier adds, the friendly vibes. So altogether, I'm really proud of the team that we have and the work that we're doing. And I'm really excited for the potential that we hold and, what we're going to bring to the community.
So is Chroma Cafe and Bakery a lot different now under your new ownership compared to what people had become accustomed to over the last few years with the previous owners?
So what we've tried to do is keep some, elements of the old Chroma. Chroma has quite a name in the community that, outlasts my presence in the community. So, we're keeping some of the traditional things that people have, come to know and love about Chroma. But then we're also introducing some new things, like I'm adding my own twist. Like I mentioned before, I started the bubble tea shop on campus. We're bringing bubble tea down there. We're bringing new sandwiches. We're keeping a rotating menu. So we're looking to keep the traditional elements of Chroma the same, but add a new flair to it, add something new that invites people in to, stop in for the first time and to keep coming back to see, what's new.
What are your current operating hours?
Currently, we're open from 9 to 5, and we're looking to introduce some weekend and late night hours for special events.
Anything else you wanted to add?
Stop on in Chroma. Check out what we got, and for everyone listening, I hope to see you soon.
And it's located at 97 Court Street. The easiest way I can describe it for people who may not have been there, it's right across from the Security Mutual building. It's just a bit east from the roundabout. So if you know where the roundabout is, just go a few yards to the east and you'll see.
That's us.
Chroma Cafe on the left side. Leighton Blackwood, thank you for being with us. I wish you success.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's 10:21. You're listening to News Radio, WNBF and WNBF.com. Weather forecast, simply magnificent. Magnificent. For mid to late November, partly sunny today, high 58, partly cloudy tonight, low 35, partly sunny tomorrow, high 52. Wednesday, mostly cloudy, a chance of afternoon showers, high 58. Right now, it's 51. That's 11 Celsius at WNBF. It's 10:25. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Bob, I have one more Endicott tidbit for you.
This is Dave from Vestal. Yes, an Endicott tidbit.
Yes, sir. Yes. And, 8-9 years ago, I think it was 2016, a lot of people aren't aware of this, but the kids don't get recognition or credit for it, Bob. Back when Maine Endwell Little League won the World Series, recognized all over the world, Bob. In Japan, they're saying Maine Endwell. In China, they're saying Maine Endwell. A lot of people don't realize, Bob, that team was made up of Endicott kids, UE kids, and ME kids. A couple of the best players on that team were Union Endicott kids. And a lot of people don't realize that. To me, they never got their just. Endicott should have been part of it. Maybe they could have called them, Union Endwell, Endicott Endwell, something. But they would have never won that without those kids that they had. And they were UE kids, Bob. And a lot of people don't know that.
Well, that's a good point. No, that's an excellent point. And I know, and let's see. I'm just going to punch up a story here that made reference to, a lot of the, I had to punch this up. This is a story that Kevin Stevens wrote for the paper, and it talked about Jude Abadessa.
Oh, Jude, great. Oh, yeah.
And it said
you could not throw a
made
fastball by
reference.
that kid.
So yes, although yes, he received global recognition in 2016 with the Maine Endwell Little League team in the Little League World Series at Williamsport. Yeah, it says the story. This is story from a little over 2 years ago in the paper. Kevin Stevens wrote, Abadessa will next don the baseball uniform of the University of Connecticut as a pitcher. And he, as it said, this past spring, upon his return to Union Endicott's program after the Little League World Series and so on and so forth. So, yes, your point being, wow, I forgot, that's a great picture. The newspaper ran this in August 2022. What a great picture of Jude Abadessa that was in the paper. I forgot about that and showed him with the Yukon Huskies flag. So anyway,
Right, that kid could play. Great.
Yeah, he could play.
And
so
you know what?
thanks for the acknowledgement for the UE players who certainly all of them. I mean, yes, UE and Maine Endwell players contributed to the success of the Little League World Series champions.
Certainly. Mm-hmm.
All right,
bud.
Thank you. It's 10:28 here at News Radio WNBF. Well, that was true. At least after the big win, it still seems hard to believe. Has it been 8 years? Yes, it has been 8 years. More than 8 years since the Maine Endwell Little League team won in Williamsport and got all that attention. But also, finally, I think because of that, of course, you had the signs that were placed on the highway, the Southern Tier Expressway, acknowledging the team's accomplishment, and also for people traveling east on the highway, now there's a reference on the highway of how to get to Endwell, which I don't believe was there until after the Little League World Series. So it kind of helped put Endwell on the map. But the point is that there were a lot of talented team members who were part of that team. Just impressive. Just so impressive. Still can't believe it happened. But it did. It's 10:29 WNBF. Oh, the air. Don't breathe, they say. Well, they don't say that. It's just the air quality is not particularly good this morning. I think this is because of the smoke from the distant fires. So the air quality index for Binghamton right now is 53. If you are unusually sensitive to particle pollution, consider reducing your activity level or shorten the amount of time you are active outdoors. So there. I know breathing's not optional, so you still have to breathe, but if you have breathing problems already or other health issues, probably would be smart to limit your activity. Unless you want to take a chance. I don't think you want to take any kind of a chance. It's 10:30 at WNBF Binghamton. Let's take another call. Hi, you're a lucky listener. Congratulations. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
It's Mark Yanati from Binghamton.
Good morning, Mark from Binghamton. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great.
I wanted to revisit this topic with Hacienda on the south side.
Right, on Vestal Avenue.
Yes. And I'll tell you I'm beyond frustrated would be an understatement. I think this is a complete, total travesty that I don't understand how many of these weed places we need in town. Binghamton is now consumed by weed places and convenience stores and Family Dollars. And I'm just very concerned because there's a handful of us working very hard to better the area, raise the bar. And these are the things that are keeping us down at a certain level. At just one point, do we grow and build a better brand in Binghamton? It's very, very disheartening. I take my newborn on a walk, try to walk him daily through downtown. And basically from the bus station all throughout town, all you do is smell marijuana. There's plenty of options to buy marijuana. Look, I understand we have to accept the fact that it's legalized now, but I also feel that the city can have some discretion as to where these places can open up. And I want to understand if they think that this is really revitalizing the area by allowing these places to open next door to each other or every other storefront or on every other corner, and how you attract a better tenant to come into the area if that's the case.
Well, it's a good point. It's interesting after this came up on the program last Thursday, toward the end of the program, when I asked Mayor Cram about all the cannabis businesses, including the license that was granted there on Vestal Avenue. All of a sudden, everybody's talking about it because this license had been approved by the state marijuana bureau, state weed division, a few weeks ago, and I had seen nothing about it. I saw it on the Office of Cannabis Management website, but I didn't hear anybody talking about it. So I thought, I guess we need to talk about it. And I think this is an important question, not just for Binghamton, but for all the triple cities. Look, they've got a shop on Main Street in Johnson City. They have at least one right now operating in Vestal. I think Endicott is, I don't know if Endicott has a legal shop yet, but probably if they don't yet, they'll probably wind up with one or two. And my question is, indeed, how many marijuana shops does Broome County really need?
Well, I will give the mayor credit because I think he went up to Albany in opposition of this particular one. I know that he's been working with some enforcement agencies to give some sort of task forces in Binghamton the authority to go in and close some of these that are operating illegally. But overall, it's just a bad look. It's a bad look. I always compare ourselves, just because it's close to us, to like a Skinny-Atlas, New York. And I understand they're not complete parallels, but they're not so far apart. I mean, they're a hop, skip, and a jump down the road. And it's such a beautiful area from everything, from the way the storefronts are maintained to the cleanliness of the city of Skinny-Atlas, or the village of Skinny-Atlas, or city of Skinny-Atlas, whatever you want to call it. And then you come to our town, and there's a handful of people who have made significant investments, not just myself. There's a lot of people that have good vision, and we're really being kind of sidetracked by this poor taste of what they're putting out there. And it certainly doesn't attract the right element of folks. So my question again is, how do you get some sort of national brand or some sort of brand that we want to come to this area to attract them? What's your sales pitch to say, come and visit our downtown? I want to show you what it has, because I feel that it's going to deter them from coming to the area.
Well,
I think we deserve better.
Well, it might be time for the city to revisit some of the areas where cannabis-related businesses are allowed. Remember, this came up a few years ago, and I don't think at the time, because I remember when it was when the mayor proposed the districts where these types of businesses would be allowed under state law, I don't think it got the type of attention either from the media or from residents or from city council that it really deserved. I don't know that people understood what the impact was going to be when all these zones were going to be approved. For example, up on Upper Court Street, where the new dispensary is going to be located, right next to the residence of a husband and wife. I mean, the drive-up window is going to be, I'd say, about 18 feet or so from their house. So
listen, this is really easy. These are easy no's across the board. Legalized weed shops or dispensaries. These are we'll call them. They're special destinations. You can put them wherever you want. You can put them up Airport Road or in some sort of industrial park tucked away in the middle of nowhere.
Well, that's the thing. There are a lot of pockets in Binghamton. I can point to any part of the city, the west side, south side, north side, and whatever side I didn't mention, plus downtown. I can point to places that are more innocuous, and they would probably do about as much business as if they were on Court Street or Vestal Avenue, because, indeed, people are not, for the most part, it's not like walk-up business. Now, there might be some people just walking by, perhaps, on Court Street here in my neighborhood, but I'm sure the most, and I haven't talked to the owner since he opened up, but I'm sure that the bulk of the people going to his store on Court Street are coming there by car and probably coming from many, if not most, coming from outside the city of Binghamton.
Again, they're destinations. People will travel to these, no different whether you have a hairstylist or a chiropractor or massage therapist or something special needs. You'll make your way there, whether it's in the heart of downtown Binghamton or in the outskirts bordering Pennsylvania. You will make it your way there. It's just a poor look for the overall downtown Binghamton.
Well, it's quality of life. I have nothing against dollar stores. I mean, dollar stores exist because there's a need for them. So there are 2 or 3 really major successful dollar store chains in the United States, and now they have Binghamton and the Triple Cities pretty well covered. But I will say one thing that I believe was a tremendous boost to my neighborhood here on Court Street in the heart of downtown was after Richard David sold the building there on the corner and changes were made. The Family Dollar store that had been there for several years and was successful and had a niche. I mean, there were people, including me, who occasionally would rely on that dollar store. I have to say, having that Family Dollar store out of there in the heart at one of the most important and the busiest intersections downtown, I thought was a tremendous improvement. And what we have now, of course, in that building are, I think, 3 separate businesses. Then as you move a little bit west, there's a business that you recently started. And I think just the transformation of what we've seen in this part of downtown Binghamton is indicative of what can happen. And if you look the other way, just because there is a legal cannabis store, and I've seen no particular problems with that store. That's about a half block from here, but I do have concerns. Specific, indeed, where existing businesses are apparently doing fairly well. Now, some people have commented, and this is a legitimate comment. Say for the restaurant on Vestal Avenue, if you're operating on a month-to-month basis, if you don't have a lease, well, to be blunt, some people are saying, well, what do you expect? And obviously the property owner has the right to have an expectation. I believe he plans to actually sell this. I mean, he intends to retire, and I think he just intends now to sell the property, and as I probably would too. But, unfortunately, if the restaurant had been operating with a lease, they might not be in this predicament.
Correct. Look, Bob, it's real simple. It's time to raise the bar in our area, and it's got to be from everything, the aesthetics, to how the city and people maintain their properties. It's to have a little bit, some sort of standard of what you can put in your window, the cleanliness of the outside, paint, storefronts. You need to maintain a standard here. You need to maintain a standard of what type of business can go into a business district, all the way around. You're never going to take our city to the next level, which everyone deserves that here. You're never going to do it based on what you're allowing or the goals you guys have set right now. They're very, very. It's the low hanging fruit. You got to force people to make a little effort and raise the bar, go into maybe a comfort zone that they're not used to. No different than what they've done recently at the Oakdale Mall. You have some vision. That place was a dying place, and it's a thriving, booming, aesthetically pleasing place that is very well supported by patrons of our area. And there's no reason why downtown can't have that.
Well, I think the city should start a campaign and call it Restore the Pride. Restore the Pride. Binghamton.
Stay tuned. We're going to get there.
Well, I hope so. You know, this is the parlor city, and I will say, because I still have still pictures and a lot of video of what Court Street looked like before WNBF moved to its current place, and I have to say, this part of downtown looks a heck of a lot better than it did when we moved here at the corner of Court and State. And I hope that trend will continue. I mean, there is certainly much more to do on Court Street and some of the nearby side streets, but we have seen things going in the right direction, and I would like to see that sort of progress be made all across the city, including the south side and the west side and the north side and the east side. Every side deserves neighborhoods, homes, and businesses that we can all be proud of.
I agree.
Restore the pride, Bob Joseph said. No, restore the bride, Bob Joseph cried.
I'm nominating you as the head leader on this campaign.
There you go.
I'll be in touch shortly.
All right. Thank you, Mark Yanati.
Thanks so much. Thanks. You, Bob. Thank you.
1043, Bob Joseph. It's not going to be make Binghamton great again. Binghamton is great. Binghamton always has been great. And I'm proud. I'm proud as a person who was born in Binghamton and a person who has worked right here in downtown Binghamton for many decades. I am proud of what this city is. And not just downtown. All of its components, its neighborhoods, its businesses, the long-time residents and the people who've just arrived, the students. The city has a lot to offer. We have a lot of people who have good ideas and energy. And listen, as you heard earlier this hour, the Binghamton University graduate, Leighton Blackwood, he came from Queens to go to school, and he stayed. And he's putting his efforts into bringing back a popular downtown business at Chroma Cafe. We need more of it. We need more of it. So there are positive signs. 1045 at WNBF. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Morning, Bob. This is Jim. I'm calling from the town of Binghamton.
Hey, Jim, what's up?
Hey, I just wanted to say that one thing that a lot of people have not been talking about with this store opening up on the south side of Binghamton is that there are a bunch of illegal marijuana stores that are all over Binghamton that are right out in the open, like behind Dorenzo's, which is just a smoke shop, and they sell marijuana. There's one over near Benedin's, near the railroad track. There's just multiple stores that are unlicensed selling marijuana, and we're not hearing much about that. Even the stores that have the illegal seized on them, they're still all selling marijuana. They just have ways of going around it.
Right. Well, and that's why Mayor Cram recently announced plans to start cracking down. I mean, I hope to see some strong evidence of a real crackdown soon, and I think we will. I think, unfortunately, and I just saw, I think it was in the Albany Times-Union, a court ruling regarding some of these places that were shut down. Oh, here it is. It's the top story on the Albany Times-Union website. Judge orders illicit cannabis signs removed as regulations face scrutiny. So this is a hard thing for municipalities to try to crack down on the illegal operators and yet do it in a way so they're not going to get jammed up with costly and lengthy court battles. Because to be honest, we don't have the time or the money for Binghamton or any other municipality around here to wind up having to spend months and thousands of dollars to ultimately, even if the city, for example, prevails in some of these cases, taxpayers don't want to foot the bill. I mean, people are,
Right.
I know most Binghamton residents are tired of seeing illegal weed sold, but on the other hand, it's as priorities go, it's like, do you want the city to spend thousands of dollars when that money could be better spent, say, on policing other issues or whatever? Because, you know, even these people who are flouting the law or taking advantage of loopholes in state law, you know, they're employing people. It is, even though it's illegal, apparently, it is helping the economy to some extent. And for the most part, I don't think, as far as I've heard, there haven't been a lot of crime-related problems due to these illegal operators. But ultimately, I believe they do need to be stopped. And if there's going to be cannabis sold in New York State, the sellers ought to follow the law.
Yeah, the people that are getting hurt are the ones who go through all the process of being legal and setting up their businesses, having storefronts, having employees, and collecting the taxes. But one other thing that we don't really hear much about, and I'm going to speak from a personal experience, is that if I bought marijuana before marijuana was legal, if I was buying it for consumption for myself, I'm still using, and so is the majority of people who consume marijuana, they're still using the dealer they had before. The dealers did not just disappear when marijuana became legal. It actually made their job a little easier, but just a little bit less profitable, because they're also competing now with the legal stores and the illegal stores. So there's a big circle of how all of it works.
Oh, it's complicated. I know, and certainly the way New York State has launched the the legalization, the sales, and the regulations, the state has probably to the surprise of no one has managed to take something that was already going to be complicated and make it even worse than I think most people thought it would be. But it is New York. To their credit, as far as I can tell, I believe the people in Albany and then leaders across the state are trying now to get it right. But it's going to take some time. Appreciate your call.
Sure. Yeah. You have a great day.
Thank you. It's 1050 WNBF. Yeah, I think there's progress. But it's complicated. And we touched on some of the complications right there. It's 10:50. Yes, 10 before the hour. Wow, show is moving right along. We still have time, though, for your calls at 607-772-1290. I'm Bob Joseph. You're listening to Binghamton Now on WNBF. Let's go back to the phones. Linda in Binghamton, you're on the air.
Oh, good morning. I just want to respond to the marijuana usage in Binghamton. If you remember the 60s, 70s, when smoking was so prevalent, everybody was smoking, and you could go into a car or go into a home or someone come into your workplace and you could smell the cigarette smoke. That's the way that this weed issue is becoming. I think even in the workplace, I've noticed that it's very prevalent, and sometimes it's sickening to have an overwhelming smell to that. So what is I want to say cure for that. So what do we do about that? I really don't know. But I wish they had been a little more proactive before they legalized it and made it available for anyone, anytime, any place to smoke.
I agree. I agree. I'm tired of walking outside here, and not every day, but many days, having to be greeted by a cloud of weed.
Exactly, and sometimes when you get a lot of it, it's really, really it can make you kind of sick to your stomach.
Well,
so I'm thinking maybe they should open some weed parks or. No smoking in the house with children.
Weed parlors or something, or designated weed areas. Even, look, they have a rule in Binghamton, and I think at Broome County parks. I think most places now have rules that say no smoking in our parks. Well, unfortunately, people do smoke cigarettes, tobacco, and do smoke weed, marijuana. If you're going to have these parks, maybe have a designated area, maybe on the edge, away from the carousel, away from the specialty playground. And away from the picnic tables. So for those who want to indulge, they can do it while inflicting their weed on those who don't want to partake, those who just are sick of it or just don't want to experience that at that particular time. I actually think New York State should have put the same restrictions, or at least similar restrictions, as they do on alcohol. I can't, it seems wrong, in my opinion, that I can't go walking down Court Street swilling a beer, as long as I behave and don't, go out and play in traffic and don't start yelling at people and making an ash of myself. So I can't drink a beer and behave like an adult legally, but I can go down Court Street after the show or during the news break and smoke weed and make it unpleasant for everybody walking by, including kids.
Exactly. And driving, weed affects everyone differently. And there's all different
And
kinds.
If you drive around, and it's,
around with it,
almost year round, sometimes even if you have your windows up, if your car is taking in outside air, it's like, oh, great. The people, next to me here at the red light, they're smoking weed, or sometimes not the people, it's the driver, because that's the only person in the car. And you say, oh, great. So this guy is now going to be heading to the west side, past Binghamton High School, and then past the elementary schools, driving under the influence of weed, and nothing can be done about it.
No, that's why I'm surprised. They shouldn't have legalized it before they had some kind of criteria or restrictions in place.
And what about the future health effects? That's what I was wondering. 5 or 10 or 20 years from now, radio and TV airwaves and newspapers, well, there won't be newspapers, but you know what I mean. Online sites, there'll be ads everywhere, talking about, cancers and other ailments, lung problems that were caused by the people who started smoking weed in 2022 because it was legalized.
Correct.
So, it's no wonder medical professionals are so happy, because long term, they're going to make billions of dollars.
There you go. Yep, keep them in the business.
It's about the money.
You're right.
Always.
Well, I hope it does change, and you have a good day. Thank you for talking to me.
Thank you. It's about the money. Everybody wins. The state government and local governments win because they get an infusion of revenue from legal marijuana, and that's why they're going after the illegal operations, because for every illegal transaction, it means less money for the state and local governments. And ultimately, businesses are going to cash in. Maybe not in the next 6 to 12 months. You're going to start hearing ads. I already have heard some ad, not around here, about people with marijuana addictions. You can be helped if you believe you're addicted to marijuana. And some people say, but you can't get addicted to marijuana. Well, maybe some people are psychologically. There's some people who are smoking weed 7 days a week. And again, it's legal. And if you're 21, I guess you can do whatever you want, just like you can drink as much beer as you want in your house and then fall asleep after this program's over. But think about the health consequences. Yeah. It's going to mean billions and billions of dollars to be made by the healthcare industry in the years ahead, thanks to legal cannabis. I'm Bob Joseph. You're listening to Binghamton Now on WNBF. 607-772-1290 is the hotline if you want to talk. We will be here till noon. Morning, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Jesse from Owego, Bob. What is up with the weed?
I don't know. It's just fantastic, isn't it?
I'm just like almost flabbergasted. I mean, how does a Mexican restaurant not know that there was an approval for a weed shop to be in their place? I mean, I'm just like lost. I'm like, are we going to get like Cheech and Chong here, and our accidental governor is going to make another visit if that does take place?
Yeah, good thing. Good thing we have Elise here at WNBF Radio, or else I could find myself scanning the new licenses and saying, 59 Court Street. Looks familiar.
Well,
then you see some guy coming in and trying to, during the program, I'm trying to concentrate and taking calls. The guy is like, "Oh, don't mind me. I'm just measuring for our weed safe." And it's like, I didn't order a weed safe. No, the new guys who are coming in here on December 1st, they ordered the weed safe. So, yeah, but we have a radio station. Yeah, nice station you have here. Good luck at your next place.
Well, therein lies the problem. How do you know that? Here you are, live on the air.
Wait, get close to a window or something. Your connection is really bad.
Yeah, I might have to call you back.
Why don't you call me back? Because your connection is really bad.
I will do that.
All right, thanks. Unfortunately, it's 2024, so in the United States, we have third world style phone service. If President-elect Donald Trump wants to make a good impression on me, on the first day, I want him to fix our phone system. Not talking about the phone system we have here. The phone system where people call in and it sounds like that. If he can make telephones great again, you will hear such effusive praise. That's the one thing he can't do. He might be able to do a lot. I'm not surprised that he believes that he can do a lot on the first day. The one thing he cannot do, he will not do, because it's just impossible, is to make telephones great again. The era of high-quality telephone service in this country, with high-quality calls and delightful connections and calls that virtually never get dropped, that was so 20th century. He can't do it. President-elect Donald Trump cannot make telephones great again. They're probably great in North Korea and probably great in Russia, but they're not great in the USA today. Hi, WNBF, you're on the air. Who is this?
And I rate Carol from JC.
Oh, you're right on time. Good morning, Carol.
Yes. Let me tell you something. Where were all these people who are all bitching now? Where were they when you can tell that I'm mad? Donald Lepardo, and if while I'm talking, look up and tell me the day that marijuana sale was made legal. Anyway, probably a few years before the virus, Donald Lepardo sent out one of her yearly surveys, and one of the questions was, how do you feel about legalized marijuana? I hit the frickin' ceiling. What the hell? She was the only Democrat that I would put her sign in my yard during election time. And when I saw her later, and in fact, I'll tell you exactly where I saw her, at St. Michael's when they were having one of their Russian events. And I said to her, and she had this big smile on her face, and I said to her, I am mad at you. And her smile dropped, and she gave me this look, and I am just furious. Thank God for Mr. Yanati calling. Someone prestigious, so to speak, in the city, in the county, whatever. I just, if I were a billionaire, even a millionaire, I would sue the ass off of the New York State governor. I'm telling you,
it'd be a waste of time. It'd be a waste of money. You could spend $1 billion in. You're not going to succeed in this. It's all been approved, and I see, unless you know of some special legal twist, I see no way where whether it's Binghamton residents or Binghamton business owners will be able to successfully challenge these regulations.
Why didn't they put it up to a vote? Why didn't they do?
Nothing's ever put up for a vote around here. Come on, man. Why would this be any different? When is the last time they put a controversial issue up for a vote in Binghamton?
Well, Binghamton, I don't know, but...
Well, they actually did, and it didn't get much coverage. I mean, they did put up one issue for a vote, and it actually won, to have the Human Rights Commission restored. I mean, that was on the ballot this year, but you're never going to have city residents or village residents with the opportunity to decide on something like legal cannabis. Come on.
How many times have I called bitching about this? I mean, I was in the middle of Boscov. All of a sudden, I got this whiff of marijuana.
I know. Sometimes when I come into the station here, I get the whiff of it. Not here in the studios, but here in the building, in the lobby. And it's as far as I know, it's not people who work for our radio stations, but there's got to be somebody either who works at other businesses or somebody who's visiting other businesses who loves their weed.
Their clothing reeks of it.
Yeah, I don't like it, but what can I do?
I mean, I'm one of these, examples that I've read about in the health books when I was in school. You get such a shot of adrenaline, you could lift a car. Well, I don't know if I could do that, but man, that's how I feel. I am just hopping mad, and I have been ever since that damn survey that went out. So when was marijuana made legal? The last and final.
I don't know if it was 2020, 2021. I'm looking at the Jared Cram put out the map of where these shops could be located. He put it out in June 2022. So it was about, not quite 2.5 years ago. I wrote the story. It says the city is preparing to adopt zoning rules that will determine where cannabis businesses will be able to locate. The mayor announced the release of a draft map and the opportunities for residents to express their views on the plan. I was there. I went to the City Hall news conference. I took pictures. I'm looking at the map. All the marijuana businesses, cannabis-related businesses that have been licensed by the state are opening in Binghamton in the areas that were approved by City Council.
Well, I didn't see any survey coming out from Republicans asking if they want to legalize marijuana. So I just have to say one more thing is the one place that someone mentioned, Dorenzo's, that there's a place near there. Well, in that very same building on the backside, guess what's there? A lady that you have had on your show multiple times. I'm not sure if it's called Farm Aid or whatever. Is that the place that you recall talking to this lady?
No, I have no idea. I have no idea.
Yes, you've talked to her. She would rehabilitating drug addicts or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing. If you if you have problems with alcohol or other substances, then you go get help.
Yeah, just walk down the hall.
Right. Like I said, I said earlier, the thing with marijuana, it's going to be a multi-billion-dollar industry to help people when they have health problems or if they think they're psychologically addicted or whatever. It's a win-win. This is going to be a huge boost overall to the U.S. economy in the next decade. There is a lot of money to be made. You make money selling it. You get people so they love it and they buy billions of dollars of it. And then when they reach the point, whether it's just they get sick and tired of it, or maybe they just get sick and they need help, then you can make billions of dollars at both ends. It's the way the cigarette industry worked. You had the tobacco companies, and then you had the companies that sold the little things that are designed to help you quit. Everybody wins.
The rise and fall of the Roman Empire.
Absolutely. And we're here to cover it live on WNBF.
Okay.
We're here for you.
See you at the ballpark.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Bob, are you still there?
No.
Oh.
I'm gone. I'm long gone.
It made me think of Roger. Remember, you said you were going to go over to courtside. When is he doing his basketball coaches thing over across the street? You said you were going to go. Remember, I said I was.
I want to go, but I need to get an invitation. I'm not just going to pop in.
You don't need an invitation. It's open. They advertise on the radio.
I know, but that's for the public. He doesn't want hangers on from the station there. He needs to focus on doing the best show. So if I get invited, I'll go. I'm
inviting you. I'm just going to say you are part of the dynamic duo. If you recall, when you were at this bagel joint on Vestal Highway, and Beth was there. And you and Roger, he was doing a remote, and I went there just because I'm retired and I could go, and I called you for the first time ever, the dynamic duo.
I remember. I remember like it was just yesterday.
That bagel place.
Yep.
Talk to you later.
Thanks. 11:22 at WNBF. Hey, we're all just one big happy family here at WNBF. It's kind of like the Brady Bunch. And where is Jan? And Marcia. See what I'm saying? Hi, WNBF. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Bob. I just want to actually thank Mayor Cram and reading your articles and everything about it. DJ from Binghamton, for protecting the businesses, keeping legitimate businesses here. I hope he keeps doing it. And to Mark Ionati, who called up earlier, I just hope when Mayor Cram is finished being mayor that man will run for mayor. He's got a right mind, and he's got it going on as far as loving his city. I believe he loves the Lord also. I hope he does. And it's the whole world will follow after pharmakia. We know that. It's witchcraft, altering your mind and getting all doped up.
Well, people always have been altering their mind. So that's, that's part of the human, I was going to say the human condition. That's part of the human experience. Everybody alters their mind.
Not like this, Bob. Not with illicit drugs.
No, and you're saying you never did.
No, I'm talking about it being legal. I'm talking about knocking out businesses.
It's always been legal. Some drugs have always been legal.
I'm echoing what you said. What if they come to WNBF studios on State and Court and say, get out?
I know. Then we're in trouble. Then I'm going to have to move this whole thing to Endwell.
That's not going to happen.
And I'll tell you what. If
men standing behind
DJ,
Mark Ionati.
DJ, I'm going to tell you exactly the first place I'm going to check. If Binghamton Now ever has to leave, I don't think we'll ever have to leave because I believe all of our paperwork, our lease, I think, is solid. So I don't believe we're ever going to have to leave. But say, in the unlikely event Binghamton Now ever had to leave, do you know where I would check first to see if I could go?
McCrory's.
No, Endwell. Endwell, young man.
Oh, Bobby's place?
No, not Bobby's place, because that's now the company, the guy that owns the building. Now his company has set up offices where Bobby's place used to be, but it's near there. You remember where McDonald's used to be in Endwell?
Okay, McDonald's in Endwell.
Right across from the burger thing. On Main Street, East Main Street in Endwell. It used to be where I went to school. They used to have the Hooper School there. Then McDonald's came in and they wanted the property. So my old school was torn down for the McDonald building, and now it's empty. So if I ever have to move the studio, I'm going to check to see if McDonald's will let us use their old burger stand for the radio studio. Plus, you'd have all those windows, like where the Playland used to be. They used to have a Playland, and so people could stop by and they could watch all the magic happen during the studio with all the windows.
Okay, Bob, let me get this straight. The Playland, I know the Playland. I've driven past it hundreds of times, Endicott. But in Endwell, you talking about by the rug company there was a McDonald's?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a little bit east of the place that sells drugs and rugs. I mean, the rug place. They sell rugs because they're a rug company. They're not like one of those cannabis shops that. The other thing in Endwell, one thing they don't need in Endwell is legal cannabis shops because they have so many people who are already selling it. So there's no need in Endwell for any of these state licensed shops. They have plenty of people already serving the needs of Endwell residents.
They're not going to let you go to Endwell. But anyway.
And then we'd have to call it Endwell Now.
Vote. Jared Cram, Mark Ionati, run, Mark. I've inspired a lot of people. I hope I inspire you, brother. You got it going on.
All right. Appreciate the call here at WNBF. No, don't worry. We're staying right here in Binghamton. There's no weed whackers, wacky weed sellers gonna force me out. No, they won't. I'm staying here. Well, we found another place for you. It's just half a block away. I know where it would be, and that's okay too, but I don't want to move. We're happy where we are. Morning, WNBF. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Bob. It's Gary on the west side. It's a nice day on the west side. Beautiful day. Sunny, nice day. I'm enjoying it so far. Hey, don't we want to make shouldn't everybody be happy? Right? Don't we want people to be happy? I think we do.
That's all I want.
In general, right? I mean, we want
That's all I want is everyone to be happy.
I agree with that too. I do. I really do. And, if drinking a little wine at your house, you want to relax, you want to drink a little wine, I say, you know what? You should be able to do that. I really do. I say, if you want to sit at home and drink wine at your house, go right ahead and do it. And I say, if you want to smoke weed, go ahead and do it. You know what? If that's the only thing that upsets you, the smell of pot, I know it upsets you, Bob, but... and
it doesn't upset me. It annoys me. There's a difference.
It sounded like it upset his...
No, it's annoying.
It's an annoyance? Well,
yeah, and by the way,
when I go to a parade in Binghamton, and I go there with my grandkid, right, and somebody comes over and they vomit right on the ground right next to me and my grandkid, I don't call for the ban of alcohol because it's an annoyance to me. I don't call for a ban of alcohol.
Yeah, but the person should get arrested then. If the person, if the person gets so inebriated that they're getting sick during the parade with your grandchild, then the person ought to be arrested. There ought to be a law against that. And the same thing. If
vomiting?
Yes. During the parade, you don't vomit during the parade. If you got to get sick, go to a private place, find an alley, find a garbage can. You don't do it on the sidewalk. That's sick.
That was an annoyance to me.
That's sick. If you're gonna vomit, go to an appropriate place. Look, most people before they get sick like that know it's going to happen. Go excuse yourself from the parade. Say, I'll be right back. I need to take a break, but I'll return. Then go to a place, an alley. I don't care. Don't do that on a sidewalk.
I don't call for a ban of alcohol because of that.
I don't call for a ban of alcohol either. I'm not calling for a ban.
You're not calling for a ban of weed.
I'm not calling for a ban on weed. I'm saying that the same restrictions that apply to alcohol use in public should apply to weed. So if
I don't have an argument with that.
Gary, nobody at the parade can legally be consuming a beer or wine or whiskey. Some do, no doubt. I mean, Exhibit A, St. Patrick's Parade.
You're right. but you're right. They can't.
But a cop, if a Binghamton police officer sees someone with an open container of alcohol during the parade, that person could get charged. Now, realistically, is that person going to get charged? Probably not. Let's face it. Well, and that's the thing. That's the thing. Right. If they're not bothering anyone, that's my primary thing. If you are not bothering anyone when you're drinking alcohol, or if you're not bothering anyone when you're smoking weed, and I don't know exactly how you smoke weed without the essence of weed coming into contact with other people, but if you find a way...
There's a few ways. There are a few
okay, ways. Well, then do that. But people, unwitting kids and adults shouldn't have to be exposed to it. I don't think it's asking too much. Show a little bit of courtesy.
But I also say that if you do smell it, you know what? If that's the worst thing that happens in your day, you're living a pretty darn good life.
I'm living a very good life, and it's never, trust me, the smell of cannabis morning, noon, and night in downtown Binghamton, that's never been the worst thing in my day. It doesn't even register on any given day in the top 100. It's not upsetting. It's just annoying. Fortunately, it doesn't actually make me physically sick. I'm just tired of being exposed to it when I don't want to. Thank you, New York lawmakers and Kathy Hochul, for making it legal. If I want to go and buy legal weed after the program or even during a news break, I can do it. Thank you.
Did Cuomo make it legal, or did Hochul? Remember, Cuomo changed his mind. Remember
he did change his... Well, okay, so maybe it was Andrew Cuomo, the legislature, and whoever was governor at the time, who can keep track without a scorecard. These corrupt politicians, come and go so often, so... it's
end up on Newsmax.
Yeah. Touche. I love it. Yeah. And again, I don't want to make it sound like I'm the old guy, yelling at the kids, get off my lawn. Yes, I'm an old guy. And in the grand scheme of things, I will be the first to admit that of all the challenges or problems that Binghamton faces, this is not even in the top 50. But it's just something...
But you make a good point, and you do, and I don't think that it should go unnoticed. Because you know what? You're right. They did pass it through, and, they're not considering it like they did alcohol, where, hey, they have no test for if you're going to drive, right? If you drive, they have no test to determine that, right? And, they say, if you're walking around the street smoking it, they really don't have any law against that. I don't believe they did. And I don't.
No, and they don't. And that's why, the cannabis enthusiasts, before the law changed, they had their smoke out or whatever in front of the police station.
That was ridiculous.
It was childish.
Marijuana. They were all criminals that went there, and they just don't like the police.
Yeah,
and they used marijuana as the reason why.
Right.
Which was so stupid.
Well, I don't use the S word. I say it was more. It's not a matter of intelligence. I just thought it was a matter of maturity. And it's one thing. See, this is the point that puzzles me right now. So now that it's legal, they still hold this thing outside the police station. It's like, why do the police care? It's like the police. Trust me, there's some police. Binghamton, Endicott, Johnson City, state troopers, deputies who are smoking cannabis in their off hours. The police don't give a damn. All they know is now it's legal in New York State, so all they do is laugh. When they have, smoke weed outside the police station. It's like, oh, how cute.
Dumb. So dumb.
Well, it's called you have nothing better to do. Because
it's a different motive. They have a different motive. It's not about marijuana there.
I know.
Hey, Bob,
yes,
I gotta tell you one thing.
It's about they have a not all, but some of them have a real intense dislike for authority and law enforcement. That's what that's about.
True. They had a party after that, and I know somebody who made cupcakes for that party. And on the cupcakes, it had to say, and I will tone it down, F the police. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
And I see, and the person that made the cupcakes was like, I don't know if I want to make them.
I know.
This isn't right. And I said, look, you got to think of it as if they're like gay. Right?
Well, exactly. It comes down to free speech. And if you're in business, if you're in business to make stuff to serve the public, I say, now if it said something like a call to violence, that's that as Andrew as Andrew Cuomo might say, that's an inelegant phrase. But hey, it also, in my opinion, when people use that phrase, and people are free to use it, I judge people that way. People that use that phrase, I'd say almost all of them, when they use that phrase, if they're in trouble, they're going to call the police, even if it's 5 minutes after they ate one of those cupcakes and were laughing with their friends. Look at this cupcake. I paid $5 to have the police cupcake, and then something happens where somebody, did a smash and grab on their car parked outside the party. Who are they going to call? They're not going to call me. They're going to call the police.
Or they're going to we handle it street way.
No, they won't handle it street way because they won't know who did it. So they'll call the police to make a report so they can then file it with the insurance company.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless they had a witness, unless they said, oh, I saw it was Jimmy who smashed my car window. Well, I'm going to, of course, street justice against Jimmy. But if they don't know who smashed their car window outside their weed party, then they're going to probably call the cops, the same ones that they were, bad-mouthing 5 minutes earlier with their funny little cupcakes. And probably the cop who has to
will show up and do his job.
Really, 202, go over to the weed after party. A person wants to file a report about a larceny, a vehicle larceny, and then it'll be the same officer who was out there assigned to crowd control outside the police station while all these weed enthusiasts were smoking their legal cannabis, and he'd be like, oh, hi, didn't I just see you outside the station about an hour ago smoking legal weed? Oh, yeah, it was funny. It's like, all right, and so you want to file a report about the damage to your car? Yeah, may I? Yeah. And the police would handle it professionally, and the person who was eating his funny little cupcake with the little saying you can't say on the radio because of the FCC, it'd be like, yeah, and could you give me a copy of that report, or do I have to, wait and get a copy from police records tomorrow? Yeah. Why don't you just send them an email and they'll send you a copy of the report? Well, thank you. All right, I'll see you next year at the smoke weed outside the station party. Yeah, have a good weekend.
Hey, Bob, do you think Donald Trump with the new FCC, whoever he picks for that, will change the 7 words that you can't say because of the way he uses words?
Well,
wouldn't that be something, huh? You can say it legally on TV, right?
And radio. Yeah.
Wow.
Do I think he'll do it? I don't think he will, but there are a lot of things.
Never know.
A lot of things I didn't think he would do either. So, who's to say?
Hey, look, the bottom line with our discussion is that most pot smokers behave themselves and try not to blow it in other people's
Absolutely.
faces. While there are the bad few that do that. And the same thing with alcohol. Not everybody throws up at the St. Patrick's Day.
No, in fact, very few. In fact, hardly any. I've been to St. Patrick's parades in Binghamton, and most years I see very little bad behavior. And most years I see no one getting sick. I do see some people rolling around and acting like they're drunk, but they're just good actors. Thanks, Gary. It's 1140 News Radio, WNBF. We now return to Owego with Jesse. Good morning.
Yeah, I think what's left of Ma Bell, I think she was smoking some legal weed there. That's why you heard my phone call go absolutely
crazy. Oh, man.
There.
That was the absolute, positively the worst. So what's on your mind?
Okay. Well, every time you push that 7th floor button when you get down into the deep dungeon, I would say keep an eye on the colors of your walls, because if they start to change and the one in front of you actually gets painted, you might be having a visit from our accidental governor, because you're going to be taken over by a legal weed shop without even.
Well, maybe it's actually going to be good news, and our format will be changed. We'll have the call letters WEED, and this will be the big weed. And so it's called Synergy, and every morning from 9 to noon, the program will be called Cannabis Now.
It would be like playing Black Sabbath backwards.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I bet there's going to be some station somewhere that's going to adopt an all weed format. They probably already have those call letters, and they, the big weed. Aye, this is smoking Joe Weed in the morning.
I think we could do a new song from way back in the day. I am the morning DJ at WDEED. There you go.
There you go.
Like that.
Yeah, well, probably could happen. And, the way things are going in the industry, I wouldn't put it past them.
You know what? By the way, you seem to be getting nominated for all kinds of positions now in Binghamton. And I'm like, hey, this is actually not a bad thing, because then I could be your press secretary.
There you go. And I think the reason that you hear a lot of these nominations, I think it must be because after all these years, and I didn't strive for this, but I guess right now I'm the most trusted person in Binghamton.
That's right. And now we got John, who might possibly run for mayor. I would love that. That's a good stand-up.
I would love it, too. I mean, who knows? He could surprise us all. But the thing is, if he ever chooses to run for office, I bet he'll announce it live on this program.
I sure hope that he does, and I would be his press secretary, too. I could use some job security.
There you go. All right, keep an eye on things. If anything happens to that strawberry, get a picture.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks. It's a story from Owego making contemporary news. Martin in Binghamton, good morning. You're on the air.
Hello. Yeah, this is business. It's business. It's big business. And there's people that are getting seriously hurt now because of all this. You see, we're start here. It's been 3 years this month. 21 is when these sticker stores rolled out. They called them sticker. I remember my stepdaughter telling me about this. Yeah, you go in there and it's a gifting, and they can give you marijuana. I mean, how the hell can they do that? They don't have a license. They don't even have licenses around here yet, And so it was like the local police. They let that go. They got way behind on this.
Well, the local police had to. The local police didn't have legal authority to shut down those stores because they took advantage of a loophole in the state law. So legally, the police, all they could do was shake their heads, tolerate it, because technically the way those stores were operating in most cases really wasn't illegal, the way the law had been written.
Yeah, that was just a shame there.
Yeah, well, it's what I would say about New York, it's pretty much to be expected. New York State seems to have difficulty. Remember, New York State was not the first in the country to legalize marijuana. Many, many other states had already done it, and New York State still, after having managed to drag its feet on this issue, still couldn't get it right.
Well, that's right. And on Friday, I opened up my Google, and it's like all these people who were waiting for licenses and stuff, and that when it was let out that they were going to be opening shops, they put everything into it. There's people all over the state that put their whole family, their life into this business. And so, like when Mark Ionati, and I know he means well, but called for a large corporation to overrule it, whatever, that isn't going to work. That is not right. And it's all the fault of the state. Okay. They rolled this out, and like I said, and they let the sticker stores come in, but then the people were waiting for their licenses, and there was backed up there, and then there's lawsuits about vets and Native Americans, and it's really at a standstill right now. It's like they can make a sweep. These stores and the New York City police are doing it.
Well, stay tuned. Binghamton is going to do it soon. I don't know that Binghamton's going to do it right away. Mayor Cram went to city council to propose legislation, and I don't believe it's gotten to the point where city council has voted on it, but city council will be able to vote on what Mayor Cram proposed, and if it's adopted, I guarantee if it's adopted, the city police will start cracking down.
I was walking my dog in Rec Park on Friday, and I seen this guy on a bench. And he looked forlorn, a young kid and stuff, and I go, he had a couple of book packs there. I says, you waiting for your children or something like that? And even though he was quite filthy and stuff, he goes, no, and I'm homeless. And I go, yeah. He goes, yeah, it's horrible, yeah, blah, blah, whatever. I asked him about his, you're an alcoholic, you're a drug addict, whatever, because I went down that route. And anyway, but he was homeless, and he was from Owego, 29 years old, and because he had no teeth, talking about the meth and all that stuff. But he's telling me that, I said, what do you do, the weed? What do you do? What drugs you do, And he says, well, I do the weed. He goes, I can get 2 ounces for $50 in Owego. And he sells them to the smoke shops here, the illegal smoke shops, especially like one around here in the First Ward. And so then they profit off this homeless guy, So everybody's got a hand in it.
Well, of course.
Right now.
Money talks, no one walks. That's all it's about. Appreciate your call, Martin.
Yep.
1150 WNBF. It's all about the money. It's all about, no matter what it is, it's just about the money. And that's the story of America. Yeah, we have great people. Everybody's great in America. And it's great because everyone is about the money. I don't know anyone who, if you talk with them long enough, isn't going to get around to the money. Think about it. If you talk to someone for only 2 or 3 minutes, they can talk about a multitude of things. If you talk to someone for 30 or 40 minutes, eventually it's getting around to the money, one way or the other. This is Bob Joseph. More calls coming up on this Monday morning on WNBF. Back to the busy phones. Bob in Vestal, you're on the air.
Show me the money. Show me the money.
That's what I'm saying. It's all
Jerry
about
Maguire.
the cash.
Jerry Maguire.
Money talks. Nobody walks.
You know what the real saying is, but you don't dare say it. Oh, why can't you liberals leave people alone? People want to smoke dope. That's their business. You know what I mean? I hear these people, yeah.
Yeah, they can smoke all the dope they want. Do it in the house and don't let me smell it.
I love that smell.
If I go up to Round Top, I don't want to smell weed. I don't care if it's legal. I want to go up to Round Top and I want to smell clean, refreshing air.
Not me. I want to smoke weed. No, I used to smoke it, but years ago I gave
It's no
it up.
good for you. It is no good for you. Beverly from the town of Dickinson, you're on the air. Beverly.
Hello?
Yeah. What's up?
Oh, Bob, we had a problem last week. I was sitting here watching TV with my oldest daughter, and somebody rang the buzzer, rang the bell outside. They rang it 4 times, and I got a little scared, so I said to my daughter, I said, who's out there? She says, I don't know. She says, all I see is something black.
Right. So in the end, though, was it okay?
Wait. So anyway.
Well, we're out of time. I mean, so in the end, everything was okay?
Well,
yeah, you'll have to call me tomorrow. We're right at the end of the program.
it was kind of scary, though.
All right. Well, but you're okay now, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, well, call me tomorrow, okay?
Okay, bye.
Bye. That's all the time we have. Tune in tomorrow to find out exactly what happened. In the meantime, enjoy your afternoon. I'm Bob Joseph. You're listening to WNBF.